My wife and I were on a date recently, and we ran into someone I hadn't seen in about 15 years. He was in one of my classes that I taught 15 years ago. And so we were catching up, and I was asking him what was going on and what was happening in his life. He had gotten married about a year and a half earlier, and he said that they were expecting their first child. And I asked him, well, how are you feeling about that? And he said, I'm actually really scared. He said, because I didn't have a dad growing up. He wasn't around. And so I don't know what it's supposed to look like. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. He said, I'm really scared. And I looked at him and I said, yeah, you should be. There's like no hope, man. No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that at all. I said that actually, that gives you a lot in common with a lot of people. It gives you a lot in common. It gives him a lot in common with anyone who's ever felt scared about a new stage of life that's coming. Or anyone who's felt that they are too weak or too inexperienced or too broken or too sinful to accomplish anything good or to tackle the challenges that are in front of them. I told him that gives him a lot in common with anyone who has ever walked into one of the multiple storms of life and wondered how they're going to be able to stay standing on their feet through what's coming at them. I told him that gives him a lot in common with anyone who's ever needed to hear Jesus' words in Matthew chapter 7. In Matthew chapter 7, Jesus addresses the reality of all of us having storms in our lives. That there are things that rattle us, things that shake us to the core, things that make us wonder if we're going to be able to stay standing on our feet. Being a new dad is just one of a gazillion things that can make you feel unsettled or scared. But Jesus' love for us is so great, and he wants us to be able to stay standing, and promises that we can when we listen to the words that he gives us in Matthew chapter 7, where he says this. He says, therefore everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against that house, yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. Two houses, built of similar materials, going through the same storms. One falls with a great crash. But this week, Jesus is going to tell you how you can stay standing through all of your storms.
Did you enjoy this video? Well, we would love to share so much more Jesus with you. Just click right here.